Welcome to Connect to Joy. Your host, Carol Deshane, is an intuitive spiritual guide for practical matters and Marconic multidimensional energy practitioner. Her quest is to help you realize new possibilities, discover and release what holds you back, and enable you to manifest an inspired life filled with joy. Join us on this journey of transformation. Now, here's your host, Carol Deshane.
Welcome, beautiful spirits. Before we get started, let me say that this is the first show under the Connect to Joy podcast title. There are, however, 59 episodes under the Living Your Limitless Life podcast title. All the old shows will still be found in the same place and should be connected to Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pandora, and a host of others. However, the URL has changed to the podcast homepage on Buzzsprout. It is now connect2joypodcast.buzzsprout.com. That's connect, the number 2, joypodcast.buzzsprout.com. I'm updating, refreshing, and revitalizing the podcast. And that made me come up with the idea for the show as well, because I'm trying to simplify and yet laser focus my life and my business so I find more time for the joy that is in this podcast title, which is also my business name. So let me ask you, where are you with your life? How's it going? Is it good? Bad? Somewhere in the middle? How do you label your life right now? How do you judge it? Do you feel like you're kind of in a rut? Are you rolling along the same, maybe boring path? Or is there just too much that you're doing and you need to reprioritize? Maybe you're just not doing what you want to do. So where are you? There are a lot of ways to update, refresh, and revitalize your life, and we're going to go into why you might want to make the effort, how you can benefit, what part of your life might need it, and lots of ideas on how you can do it in different areas of your life. So hold on. First, I want you to ask yourself if you need to update, refresh, or revitalize your life. When you ask yourself that, do you get any answers immediately? Something that just jumps out at you. If not, how can you tell maybe what part of your life or how you can do it? Where you should do it? Well, think about it for a minute. Do you feel like you're stuck in a rut? Doing the same old thing? Kind of what I already mentioned? Maybe you overschedule yourself so you're constantly busy, but you don't feel like you're doing what you want to do even though. Maybe you're just too busy doing the same old thing. Maybe you never say no to people. They ask you for a favor and you're the go-to person, the good old reliable person. And whether you feel appreciated or not may not matter. If it's not what you want to do, maybe you need to update that a little bit. Similarly, if you're always doing what other people want to do instead of what you want, do you give in? So maybe your family says, or your spouse says, I want to go do this. And you go, geez, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a -5 on that one. But you give in anyway. How will it be refreshing for you to make a change of what type? Sometimes we never say yes, because when we want to say yes to ourselves, we open ourselves to new possibilities. But if we only say yes to other people, then we miss those opportunities and those possibilities. We could be missing out on things that maybe you know you want to do, or dreams that you have that you've let go over the years, or you just haven't bothered because other priorities come up. It's a time to look into those and refresh those ideas. Maybe you try nothing new. You do all the same old stuff. And maybe you're just bored with your life. Something even worse could be that you're emotionally unhappy. Maybe you feel guilty or depressed or bitter or sad or angry more often than not. And definitely it's time to rethink those things you're doing if that's how you feel, because you have to look at why you feel that way. What's causing it? How can you change what you're doing? Change it up in order to feel better. And maybe things that you think you should do, you don't really have to. Imagine that. If you have a should list, maybe that should list is a shouldn't. I don't have to be there anymore. I don't have to do it. And maybe your life just seems way too complicated. too many things on your list, too many things you have to do, too many different parts pulling at you. Or maybe you just need an update because your priorities have just changed and maybe you don't even realize it. Or maybe you realize it, but you haven't done anything about it yet. Things that used to be important, they just may not be important anymore. So maybe it's time to look into that so that you can make that shift to really enjoy your life more. And you might just have outgrown something you're doing or some people you're around, and you're going, this really isn't what I want to do anymore. Or perhaps you feel enlightened in a way so that you might not need a particular person or issue in your life anymore. So as you can see, there are lots of reasons to update, refresh, and revitalize your life. Lots of different ways you can do it. Lots of different reasons that you might need it. So what benefits might you get from taking the time to figure this out and actually taking the steps to update your life? Well, there are a number of them, as there are for anything you might shift and do. But first, you might enjoy your life more. Not a small thing. Even little sections of your life can improve. Your emotions may start shifting to a better, more balanced place. Your priorities may change. They can change to what you really want to do instead of everyone else's desires. Recognizing that you may still have people in your life you need to consider while you're making your changes. People you live with, your bosses that you don't live with, or you may have to consider them. But small changes may not make any difference. A benefit is that you may not get bored anymore. Probably won't if you make some changes that make you feel better. And if you don't like thinking about the word changes, think about refreshing your life, re-energizing, revitalizing, updating it. Use one of those other words. You might learn to redirect or say no to someone if they ask you to do yet another carpool or something else for them when you really don't want to or don't really have the time. Another benefit, the things you schedule won't seem overwhelming because they'll be something you want to do or something that you go, okay, I'm okay with this. I've looked at all the things I'm doing. I'm okay with it. Or I love it. Or I have fun with it. And you might have more fun if you shift and update your life. You might even start doing the things you keep putting off that you really want to do. Things that don't seem to have the priority or aren't as important in the scheme of things they might be. It's just that you put them off for the things that are in your face every day. You might discover new possibilities for your life that you hadn't thought of before. Things that weren't even on your radar, that once you start thinking about this, could shift and you might go, oh my God, I could take this class, or I could do that. That would make my life so much better, but it hadn't even occurred to me before. It's amazing how many times that happens. If it matters to you, you might even start to feel like your life matters if it didn't before. Like what you're doing makes a difference. And maybe you might even start seeing some of your dreams coming true if you focus on them just a little bit more. So as you can see, there are small benefits and even big benefits from working on this. And some may seem scarier than others. But before I give you the rest of the info, I do realize that we are not an island. Like I said a little bit before, we have significant others, children, parents, siblings, friends, neighbors, bosses, co-workers, you get the drift. Lots of people in our lives. Some we live with and some we don't, but some we have to, so to speak, live with, like bosses and co-workers where we're there. And as long as we stay in that job, we have to deal with them. So updating your life, well, it'll look different for each of you, depending on your circumstances and how you want to shift your life. But everyone can do something to refresh and revitalize their life. Even a small difference can make a difference. So next, let's look at where you might want to make the changes. When looking at my business life, I decided I wanted to simplify it by putting everything under one name. So now if it's not under my name, Carol Deshane, it's under Connect to Joy. But the number 2 in the middle, Connect to Joy. So not only is my website that, my email is that, my podcast now is entitled that, and my Instagram account is labeled that. My YouTube is under my name. My Facebook business page is under my name. And at some point, I may shift those as well so that I can get all of them under one name. I also wanted to change my social media, adjust it a little bit. And that made me feel like I was refreshing not only my business, but also revitalizing me in the process and my enthusiasm for what I'm doing. And I'm re-energized, but I feel really good about what I'm doing. When I'm looking at my home life, I wanted to make some more time for me, to live my business name, to connect to my joy more. And I wanted to have some fun, which is what being in my joy does. But I also wanted to put more movement in my life, get more active, and adjust my eating habits. I wanted to pay more attention to my schedule and what made me feel good. And if I needed to do something I didn't enjoy, I wanted to find a way to make it work. That's how I wanted to do it. Where do you want to update, refresh, and revitalize your life? Let's look at some different areas. How's your home life? Meaning the people you live with. How's your family, your spouse, your children? Maybe you have roommates. How do you feel about them? Is there something there that's not quite clicking? Things that aren't working? Things you want to shift, adjust, and change to refresh and revitalize because really, maybe you need to set boundaries or do something. What do you need to do? At first, just look at, this isn't working. There's certain sections. I'm not happy at home. Or maybe there's boundaries you need to set with a roommate about food or about noise or something. Another area you might look at is where you live. Do you like your home? Is your home infested with insects? Have too many animals? Does it smell? Does it have some mold or mildew? Or does it have rust part places in the bathroom that you don't like? Maybe it's grungy, or maybe you have things piled from here to forever and you need to build organization and to declutter. What is it about where you live? How does it feel? It should really feel like your haven, like a place that feels really good to you. Does it? If it doesn't, what is it about it that doesn't? So then you can decide how you want to update, refresh, and revitalize. Maybe the only way you can do it in your home is to move. Because maybe it's really noisy and it's not inside your house, it's outside your house. Maybe it's unsafe neighborhood. There's certain things that you kind of have to move out of the area for. Maybe it's just way too expensive and you can't afford a nice place. So you need to shift to another area of the country almost, wherever you may be living. So what is it about where you live? Another thing to look at is your car. Is it not working? Is it having some issues? Is it noisy? Is it ugly? What is it about your car that may need a refresh? Maybe you're just really uncomfortable when you drive and you need to get a new backrest for it. If that's all it is, even if you spend $80 on it, it's worth it. It's something that will make it more comfortable if you're driving anything more than 5 miles. How's your job? Is it something you need to update, refresh, and revitalize, especially if it's your boss? Might be a little bigger then. Maybe it requires a new job. Maybe the coworkers aren't who you wish they were. If they're nasty or mean or whatever it may be, maybe you need to shift your thinking and maybe it'll shift. Or maybe you need to change jobs. Depending on if lousy people follow you everywhere, it's probably you. So you need to shift your own attitude to see what happens before you change a job. So look at the areas that aren't working. How are they not working? Look at them more in depth. First, think about what areas, and then look at what about the areas aren't working. And if you have a career instead of just a job, or you own your own business, then those can be interesting shifts as well. Do I need to adjust what I'm doing or how I'm doing? My focus? Maybe your mission statement needs to be adjusted. Maybe it's only a few words that make everything different for you. If you have a mission that says, I'm going to do this. This is what our accomplishment is. Instead of this is how I want to impact the world, maybe how you want to impact the world and putting it out that way shifts your whole focus and revitalizes everybody in the whole group. Maybe where you want to make a few changes is in your finances. Yeah, I know, that's always a hard one for some people. It can be anything from your mindset and the fact that you deserve to have more money in your life because you always seem to cap out at a certain amount, or you're always in debt. And maybe it's not just your habits, which can be changed, not necessarily easily, but you can change, but also your mindset. Because sometimes we need to adjust the fact that we deserve more. We don't have to be stuck in poverty. We can have more. Or maybe we don't need to be just barely making it and paying the bills. We can have more to travel, to go to schools we want our children to go to, whatever it may be. Then looking at travel. We've been kind of stuck for a while, but maybe you're starting to think, yes, to revitalize means I've always wanted to go to Italy. I'm going. I don't care what's going on. I'm going to find a way. Or at least make a plan for it as soon as everything is where it needs to be. What about your emotions? How is your emotional health? Are you more depressed? Are you more angry or sad or bored? Or where are you on that emotional scale? Is that an area you go, maybe I need to revitalize that? And maybe I need help on that one. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's just you look at what is it that makes me feel these emotions that isn't a happy, wonderful, joyful thing. If you're not happy about your life or about a section in your life, you might be able to tell maybe you're not upset about the whole thing. Maybe you love your home. It feels great. You even like your job. You love the people there and the money coming in is fine. You have no issues with any of that, but maybe your relationships are sucky. You don't like them at all because you're feeling like people don't appreciate you. You don't have the right friends. So maybe that's where you need to shift because your emotions are telling you that. And that leads to things like limitations. Where are you limiting yourself? Where in your life is it not looking well? Are you always fearful about losing your job? And so maybe that's someplace you need to look at. If you change what might be holding you back, then your life can look totally different. But maybe you don't want to start any of the big things. Because if the conclusions you come to are that you need just a few small changes, maybe you need some medium changes. Or maybe there are some really big life-changing decisions that you know you have maybe been putting off. And if you're going to update, refresh, and revitalize your life, maybe those are things that you need to look at. They can be really scary sometimes, but they don't have to be. If you don't go in with fear, if you go in with positive, this is so exciting attitude, there may be a little fear in there, but the changes can be unbelievably wonderful if you allow yourself to even think that you can do it. So let me give you now some ideas of how these small, medium, or large changes might look for you so that you can get even more of an idea of how you want to revitalize and refresh your life. For small things, maybe you just need to adjust the way you do something. Maybe you hate washing the dishes, so you put on some music and you dance around while you're doing the dishes. And all of a sudden you're going, geez, I'm done? Get somebody dirty some more dishes. I want to keep dancing. Or maybe you hire someone to do what you hate. Some people, they don't cost so much if once a month you hire a housekeeper or a gardener, depending on your area. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe you have one of your children do some of the stuff. You adjust the things that you hate to do and you say, okay, I'll do this. But your new job is to do the thing I hate, which is wash dishes, or to empty the dishwasher, or to dust or vacuum, or to do whatever it is that you don't want to do. A small change might be to make the time to pray or meditate if that's something you want to do, even if it's 5 minutes in the shower. Anything and anywhere that you want to make small refreshes or updates that'll make a difference to you. That's what you want to put down on your list. This is the things I want to make the small updates to. Perhaps a good idea for you would be to watch less TV or less TikTok, play less games, have less time on social media. You know, if it's you. Perhaps you just sit down at the end of a long day and you sit and you put your feet up and you veg and you watch TV. Perhaps instead of all night, doing nothing, not talking to anybody else in the household or barely talking to anybody, you give yourself 2 hours, watch a movie, or an hour to watch a piece of a game, or a half an hour to do something, to go on TikTok and say, okay, setting an alarm, at the half hour, I'm done. Try that, because if you have other things you want to do, other people in the household you want to talk to, you need to not do these other things that are so distracting. And most of the time, I feel like we're getting nothing out of them. You want to make your life more exciting, more fun, more joyful. So if TikTok makes you laugh, set yourself a time limit instead of being there for an hour or two at a time. If there's something you want to change up at work or at home, a routine or something else that you're going, routines are safe, but they can be boring. They can feel like you're stuck in a rut. If you drive to work every day and it's the same way, unless it's across a bridge and you have no choice, maybe you drive a different way sometimes. So you're not bored out of your mind getting to work. Or if it's always stuck in traffic, you go, I always go this way. I'm going to try this other way. It may take a little longer, but maybe it's more scenic. Maybe there's less traffic. Or maybe you get audiobooks while you're driving because you're driving yourself crazy when you're driving to work. I used to always take the time, I'd have a piece of paper because I was mostly sitting in traffic, and I would think of ideas for my YouTubes. And I would start writing all sorts of ideas down. Some of those became podcasts. And some of them, when I was initially starting, I was doing a radio show, so they would become a radio show. But that's the time I spent. And when I started driving, I would stop writing. But sometimes you just are sitting there in traffic. So change your routine. Do something different. Now, another thing you might want to do is to read. Read more. Not just online. Read a book. Oh my God, a book. What's that? Whether it's a Kindle or it's a real honest-to-God book in your hand, Amazon is great for that. You can get lots of very inexpensive books because you can get used ones. Whatever it is that interests you, we seem to have stopped doing that. And that's a small change you can make, even if you only read it at your lunchtime. Or if you take a bubble bath, read it then, right before you go to bed. Of course, I get too involved with what's happening, so I forget to put the book down. So you may not want to do that. Unless books make you fall asleep. I know people that do that. You might want to start writing, maybe in a journal. Write your feelings, your emotions, what's going on, your dreams, your goals. Or maybe you want to write your autobiography, because the time to reflect will make you remember what really mattered to you through your life, and maybe bring up the things you always meant to do, so you can do them. Imagine that. And if you don't write, really think about your dreams and what you want your life to look like. Now, this is a small shift, so you don't want to do anything action-oriented yet. Just think about it. What dreams or goals or plans have you had in your life that you didn't do? Or maybe hobbies you always wanted to take up. If you always wanted to play softball and you're not too old to do that, or you wanted to go ahead and do some other sport that really interests you, or do some kind of arts or crafts. It's never too late for arts or crafts. You may not be able to play football if you're 80. I had a singing teacher who, until he was in his mid-80s, if not older, was playing softball because he loved it. He did everything he could on the senior league. So there's a lot of things you can do that's not too late for. So there's lots of small things. So maybe you want to update, refresh, or revitalize in a more medium-sized things, because there are some things you go, small are great, but it's not going to make enough of a difference for me to find my joy. So what do? This might be a big thing, but let's say it's a medium thing. Maybe you start saying no to people when you don't want to do something. Maybe that's your boundary. You say, I'm not going to make any excuses. I'm just going to say, no, I'm so sorry, I can't do that. Without making a lot of excuses. I know some of us, we want people to like us, and we go, oh, I'm sorry, I really can't do that because I have this thing, and then I have that thing, and then I have to do this, and then I have to do that, so I really can't fit it in, I'm so sorry. And then they try and talk you into it anyway, and you go, oh, all right. Set a boundary. You don't have to always say no, but when it matters, when it's one more thing on your plate and you feel like you're going to explode, or you really, really, really don't want to do it, then at least start with those things. And then the next medium change you could do is to start saying yes to yourself. Me time. It's that you need time to refresh and revitalize your whole being. Things you really want to do? Be kind to yourself. Say yes. Do that bubble bath. Read more, sleep more, whatever it may be. Find time and a way to do it. Even if it's only an extra 10 minutes, an extra 20 minutes to start with. You'll be a nicer person to be around. If you have a family and you go, me time, and they go, thank God, go away. Or maybe if you're cranky, they'll go, Mom, you need me time. Dad, go work in your shop or go read something or go watch a game. Do whatever it is that you do. Go garden. Get away from me. You need me time. Maybe that can be your escape time, and maybe you'll even share that with the family. An update or a refresh you may want to do if you're feeling lonely. Maybe you need a new pet, usually a furred pet, because the furry pets you can hug and hold, and even cats will be weird. Well, it depends on the cat, but they'll come near you. They'll cuddle some of them. Some of them are like, go away, I'm on my own. But if you have the right furry pet that's cuddly, that makes you feel good, and if you only want them as company but you don't need them to be cuddly, then that's even different. You can go out with that mindset when you're looking for a pet. It can be a big change in a way, but it's really more of a middle update sort of thing, especially if you're lonely or there's an empty space and you want children and you don't have any. Maybe you get a pet, and that makes you feel like, okay, I'm not as alone now. I'm not as empty, maybe. Maybe you start saving money. Ooh, if you look into the finance thing, this middle of the road update refresh, maybe you do something like you automatically take money out of your paycheck so you don't even know you're doing it if you have trouble starting to save money. Maybe you put it in a 401k so you have a really hard time getting it out when you need it. Or maybe you just open an account for a vacation, for children's education, for a rainy day, for whatever. Although if you think it's for a rainy day, the money will generally, mindset, leave you. There will become a rainy day. So it's better to say, this is for retirement, even if it's a separate account that's not a governmental retirement account like a 401k or an IRA. If you can do automatic paycheck deposit, you take a piece of it, like $100, $200, and it goes to a separate account totally, and then you ignore that account for a while. You will all of a sudden realize, hey, I'm saving. You can also pay down debt. This one is not necessarily a refresh, but it is refreshing when you suddenly start realizing that your credit card is not so high. The debt that felt like it was bogging you down, you put a little extra in every month, whether it's an extra $10 because that's all you can do, an extra $20, and you find a way to stop doing something you don't need that costs money, and you put that little extra on a credit card or on some other debt that starts coming down. It's something that will make you feel refreshed and re-energized when you see that bill going down and going, oh my God, this is happening. You may not notice it for 6 months or a year because it may be such a small amount you're putting on there. But if you manage not to add more to that account or that credit card or that whatever debt that you're putting in there that you're trying to pay down, you will see a big difference, even if you only add a little bit on there. You might need to get more movement in your life. So I don't say exercise because that word is like, to me. I like to dance. I like to move. So find something you love to do or something new that you haven't done before. Maybe you do walking. If you have that new pet, you have to do, if it's a dog, maybe not a cat, you have to walk the dog, right? Instead of just letting the dog out the backyard and do its thing, maybe it's time to start that walk and you go with the dog. Find a dog park. You're going to find people that you can talk to there too. But walking in a park will also be a great thing on a leash to meet people. Walking with an audiobook. Gardening, which is really hard on your body if you do a lot of ups and downs. Climbing and going and kneeling and all those other things. Bowling, softball, even pickleball. I don't know what it is exactly, but I have a number of friends who do it and they love it. And they're older, so obviously it's something that can't be too impossible to do. But more movement may be something that you need to just update a little bit in your life. Maybe you need to change your eating habits. Now, only you know if you want to do that. It doesn't mean that you need to shift it radically. Maybe you're a cookie-aholic, so you only allow yourself to have a couple of cookies instead of the whole box. This can be difficult if you really need to go to AA for cookie eating. I have a sister who was like that. She was very much difficult with stopping the cookie, so she can't even have it in her house. She says, I don't even buy them anymore because she knows herself. I have animal cookies with the icing and the dots on them that I cannot buy unless I'm willing to eat the whole bag at a time. So I might buy some once a year or once every other year when I really look at it and go, I want the icing, pure sugar. Maybe you need to eat a little more because you're not eating properly, or eat a little less in your portion sizes, or shift the type of food you're eating, shift the time of day you're eating, how often you're eating. Maybe you need smaller portions more often because you have an imbalance in your system, and that's what you need to do. I had a friend who needed to do that. I would go, you're hungry? You're eating already? Let's go. And she'd go, no, I'll get a headache if I don't eat every so many hours. I don't need a lot. I just need a little bit of protein or a little bit of, I forget what else she ate, but she would eat a little bit and she'd bring stuff with her because she knew her body. As a young person, I didn't understand that, but I thought it was weird. But you know your body, hopefully well enough to know this is good for me, this is bad for me. I love it. Maybe I won't eat so much. Maybe I stop eating pork, or I stop eating some sort of meat that's too much, that I eat way too much of, or I eat less of, whatever that may be. Only you know what you want to do. I know I changed the time that I ate. I didn't have breakfast until like noon, or I didn't eat it at all, and I'd have a big dinner at like 2. I found a way to make that work, even though I was working during the day at a day job. I would have that, and then at night I'd have like a snack. And that was it, like around 6. So that's something that I changed, but you can change it any way you want. I'm not saying that's right for you, but that's what I did for me. Another kind of medium update refresher to revitalize, you could travel somewhere. And if you travel, do it more than just as you're starting to relax. Because sometimes you go away for a weekend, and you're just starting to relax and you go, got to go to work on Monday. Or maybe you're taking your full 1-week vacation, and maybe it's a cruise, a 7-day cruise, and you go, oh, great. Well, with all the travel to get to the cruise and all the pandemonium to get on the ship, to get your luggage, to get your room, the first day or 2 days, maybe not very relaxing. And then the next 2 or 3 days, you're thinking, what did I do at work? What else do I need to get done? Let me make a list so I don't think about it. Or let me do that email. So you're sort of winding down, but you're not really relaxed yet. And then all of a sudden you're relaxed, you're enjoying yourself. It might be the 5th or 6th day. And the 7th day is, again, pandemonium. Get your luggage out the door. Get off of the ship or wherever you're going. Get the travel to get home again. And then you're home and you're going, did I just have a vacation? So perhaps you need a little longer vacation. If I'm talking as an example, I'm doing the 7-day cruise. Maybe you used to do 3 and 7's what you need. If you did a 7-day cruise, maybe you need a 12-day cruise. Take a few extra days if you need them to relax. So when you go back to whatever you do for a day job, you're not going, I need a vacation, and you just got back the day before. Granted, sometimes being gone, if nobody does your job or your business, it can be nuts when you get back. But at least walk in going, I feel great. So that the first few days, at least, even though it's crazy, you come at it with a different mindset because you're more relaxed. You have more memories, more enjoyment time. So maybe you just need to add a couple of days or a week to when you go away, when you travel. Another thing you can do that's sort of a medium size update or refresh is to take a class or take a group of classes, maybe at a college or maybe just a rec department. And that can be anything from taking swimming lessons to a class on photography, taking math, if it's something that's going to help your business or your job. It can be anything, maybe a PR class, a how to do social media class if you're a little behind or you want to learn the more advanced ways of doing things. It could be anything. Now, if it's a class to advance your skills in your business or your job, you may not enjoy it, so it may not feel like an update or a refresh, but maybe ultimately it will update and refresh the actual career, business, or job. So there's different ways to look at it. You also might want to find a new hobby The new hobby might be something you've always wanted to do. Maybe you've always wanted to get into art and you really can't paint anything. Or maybe you loved it in high school and junior high school and maybe even kindergarten finger painting, but you never did anything with it. So maybe you take a class in that, and that's your new hobby. Your hobby is at night or weekends, you say, okay, I'm going to take a couple hours and I want to paint. I want to do pottery. I want to do something artsy or craftsy, or a new sport, whatever that hobby may be, something that gives you some joy. Perhaps it's time to think about volunteering. If you want to get more out of your comfort zone maybe, or away from just being alone if you're single and live by yourself, or maybe your spouse is in the military and away a lot and you're just you, maybe you need to volunteer somewhere. Maybe it will help you feel like you're making a difference, or that you just meet more people and get out of the house. That's a great way to make a difference and do it. You can look all over the place on how to do it. And I have episode 10 is all about the secrets to volunteering. So if that's something you want, it'll help you know what questions to go in asking the different volunteer places, how to go find the one you want, deciding what type of volunteering you want to do. Lots of ideas on the secrets to volunteering episode. So go back to near the beginning, and it's all about what to do, how to do it, and the questions to ask before you actually go there. Or when you go there, say, hey, what kind of volunteer jobs do you have? What would I be doing? How much time do you expect me to be there? So lots of information on that episode. Another thing you might want to think of doing is making new friends. Now, volunteering or starting a new hobby or taking a class, those can all be ways of finding new friends. If you're alone too much, or you find that your friends, well, let's put it this way, suck the life out of you because they're so needy, they're so negative, and there are people like that, and hopefully it's not you, that you do that to your friends. Sometimes you just need other people in your life. People different. You can keep some of those friends, but maybe you need new ones, the ones that are more fun to be around. So look into that and see how that feels. You might also want to get a new look. Maybe you want a new hairstyle. Maybe you want to chop some of that old stuff off. Or you want ladies to go get a makeup makeover. Perhaps you just want a few new wardrobe pieces for something you're doing, or you look and you go, I can't really afford a whole new wardrobe, but I'd like a couple new pieces in a totally different style than I normally have. You know those makeover shows, maybe you're always wearing oversized t-shirts and leggings, ladies, or maybe, gentlemen, you're always wearing the same khakis and button-down shirts or something. Maybe it's time to adjust your color scheme or something to make you feel more fun or just different. To make you feel like you're more attractive, you're more professional, whatever it may be that you're looking for. I know when I was looking to start dating at one point in my life, I went to an expensive store called Nordstrom's, and they had personal shoppers. And it was free, but the clothing was very expensive, which is why the personal shopping was free. I decided I was going to only spend a couple hundred, hard to do there, but I was going to do the personal shopper to get ideas on what to buy. Unfortunately, I bought a few things, too many, for my budget, but I had a whole new idea of how I wanted to dress and a few ideas of how to purchase future ones in a cheaper location so that I could really change up my look. And sometimes you just need to do that. Also, a medium way to refresh your place is to start planning on how to accomplish those dreams you may have already thought of. Make a plan, make a goal. Don't actually do the steps yet if you're doing, but at least take the next step into, I know what I want now. How can I get those things to happen? How can I change that career, this big thing I'm afraid to do? I want to do this instead. What steps do I need? Make a plan. Maybe write it down, which is always a better way because then you can see it and you can go back to it when you're ready. Of course, there are some big changes, which when you're updating, refreshing, and revitalizing may be more obvious to you than the other small and medium ones. Do you need a new car? Well, sometimes you just need a new car. Whether that means it's a used car that's been totally updated and refreshed and checked through and has a warranty, or it's a turned-in leased car or a brand new car. They all have warranties on them, or you can pay for an extended warranty. So it's a new car to you. Maybe it's time. Maybe you want to put those dreams into action, the plans that you had been working on, thinking, I really want to do this. So maybe it's time for that. And if you look at your attitude, maybe if you're feeling negative or angry or upset, that can kind of be a big thing to work through. So if you're looking at it going, all right, I don't like me when I'm around me. Maybe you're always playing the victim. You know those people, if you can see it in other people easier, victim, 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 no matter what happens to them, it's not their fault. They always have somebody else to blame. Look at yourself. Maybe that's you. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying maybe. If you have trouble with people wanting to be your friends and you're always whining and complaining about, oh my God, this happened, it's not my fault, I didn't do anything. Some of the time you need to take responsibility for things. If you look at things and you go, I'm always angry, I'm always upset, I'm always sad, I'm always depressed. Why am I always this way? What is it about my life that makes me feel that way? And then look at what those things are. There are always some things that you have some control over. You can take responsibility for and change, because then you have the power. I'm not saying this part's easy. You may need to take the step out to find a person, a friend, or a therapist or a life coach to talk you through some of these things, to help you talk through them, to help you find your new way, your new refresh, your new revitalization, your new re-energizing by adjusting those attitudes. That will go a huge way to shifting your life. Now, you may also, in a big change, decide that you need a new job or career. Perhaps the big change starts with going back to school while you keep your old career, your old job. Maybe it means that you live off of your spouse for a while, so you need to have a big, long talk with them and saying, this is what I want to do. I don't see how I can work at the same time, or I can work part-time while going to school full-time, or however it is, if you feel it's a huge shift and it really does require, like medical or something requires major schooling, lawyer requires schooling. So maybe you look at it and you go, this is what I want. This is what I've always wanted. I need to make a shift. You'll need somebody to help you, back you up if it's money needed, whether it's a loan or whatever it may be, or just your spouse being on your side to help you through it. You might also feel like you need to move out of where you're at in your home. You need to change locations, period. For whatever reason, maybe it has to do with your career or your business or your job, and you're going, I can't get anything here going. I gotta move. Maybe it's because it's unsafe. Maybe because the house itself or the home itself is falling apart. Whatever it may be, how does that impact your job, your family, other people, your friends? How does that impact? And is this something that you really want to do? Because it could be a huge update to your life, a huge, almost like restart. But you have to decide, is this worth it? It's a big thing, just like these other things I'm talking about now are. And of course, a lot of times they mean that you have to refresh and update relationships. Whether that means setting boundaries with certain ones and certain people where you don't do things with them or you don't talk about certain things. There's politics in the air. There's, at this point, COVID and vaccines. And maybe there's somebody you love that you can't talk about some of those things with because they are on the opposite side of the fence from you. There's always an opposite side of a fence, but right now things are a little nuts and people are taking way big sides. Know that when people take a side that you don't believe in, don't automatically push down your boundary and say, I don't talk about it. Know that person well enough to know if you can listen and share information or if it's something you just can't talk about because they won't do anything but push you. Because sometimes you just need to say, I'm going to block you on Facebook. I'm not going to talk to you right now until you can talk to me and treat me with respect because I can't do that. Now, these are only friends. You really can't do that so much to someone you live with. But you can do boundaries. You can shift things. You can talk things through, communicate better. which it can be a really big change for some people. And unfortunately, sometimes you need to step away from people. You might need to say, I'm done with this friendship. I'm not responding to this person anymore. I'm not going to reply. I'm going to let more and more time go by before. I'm not going to do the immediate text. I'm not going to call them. Let them call me only. Maybe you just tell the person, I need a break. I don't want to be around you right now because the things you're talking about, I just can't deal with. Or I don't have time. Whatever it may be. Unfortunately, it could also mean divorce or breakups because you have to decide what's best for you. Only you know a way that will make your life feel more updated and refreshed and revitalized. Only you know that. And you might only need a small change or two for now. But if you really look at your life, you might find there are numerous things you'd like to adjust in order to feel re-energized and revitalized. But tackle them one at a time or maybe a couple at a time. But don't do 5 at once if you start to feel overwhelmed, because you don't want to make so many changes at the same time that you freak out, that you start having a breakdown, that you stop eating, can't sleep, all those things. No, you want to do things that make your life better. It should make you feel good when you refresh your life. It should make you feel relieved that you let the old go. Maybe a little pang from time to time of, oh, that was a person I liked, but God, it's changed so much. I'm going to let them go for now. That you're doing something that matters to you, or it's just more fun. It should make you feel better. And maybe what you'll be doing is simplifying your life if it feels too complicated, which is what I wanted to do. So as always, if you need more help to get moving or unexpected blocks come up, think about finding that outside help. I mentioned it already, but it can be anything from a friend who's always there for you, to a minister or some sort of spiritual advisor, to a life coach like me, or even a therapist. Whatever feels right, don't be afraid to reach out. You really are worth it. Thank you for joining me here today. Until next week, be courageous and reach higher. Just take one step at a time. Get the help you need, if you need it, and connect to your joy.
Thank you for listening to Connect to Joy. If you love the show, make sure you rate, review, and share this podcast. And subscribe so you never miss an episode. Contact the host, Carol Deshane, with questions and comments, ideas for future episodes, or if you would like to become a guest. And remember, transformation is a journey and not an end destination. So be kind to yourself, because you are already enough to have the joyful, limitless life that you desire.